Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you a question. If someone handed you $1 million today, would you protect it? Would you invest it wisely? Would you make sure not a single dollar was wasted? Of course you would. But I'm here to tell you something far more valuable than money has been placed in your hands this very moment, and that asset is time. Time is the one thing you cannot borrow, you cannot save for later, and you cannot get back once it's gone. You can lose money and make it again. You can lose possessions and replace them. But when a minute passes, it's gone forever. That's why time is your greatest asset, and how you use it will determine the quality of your life. Many people spend their time like they think they have an unlimited supply. They say, I'll start tomorrow, I'll change next year, I'll go after my dream when things calm down. But let me tell you something, tomorrow is not promised. Next year is not guaranteed, and things may never calm down. Life will keep happening whether you are ready or not. The question is not, do you have time? The question is, what are you doing with the time you have? Some of you have dreams that have been whispering to you for years. Dreams of becoming more, doing more, giving more. But instead of acting on those dreams, you've been negotiating with your comfort zone. You've been letting fear, doubt, and distractions steal your minutes, your hours, your days, and before you know it, years have passed. I want you to hear this clearly. Success is not about having more time than anyone else. It's about deciding that your time matters. It's about making a conscious choice to invest your time in things that move your life forward. When you wake up in the morning, time hands you a gift, 24 hours. Everybody gets the same amount, rich or poor, young or old. The difference is how people use it. Some people use their time to complain, some use it to make excuses, some use it to relive their past mistakes. But champions use their time to grow. They read when others scroll, they practice when others procrastinate, they learn when others make excuses, and little by little, day by day, those small decisions compound into extraordinary results. Let me tell you something about growth. It doesn't happen by accident. Growth is intentional. If you don't plan how you're going to use your time, someone else will plan it for you. Distractions will plan it. Social media will plan it. Other people's priorities will plan it. And one day you'll wake up wondering where your life went. You must get to a point where you respect your time, where you say, my goals deserve my attention. My dreams deserve my energy. My future deserves my discipline. Because every hour you invest wisely is a vote for the person you are becoming. Now, let me be real with you. Maximizing your time is not easy. It requires sacrifice. It means sometimes saying no to good things so you can say yes to great things. It means letting go of habits that feel comfortable but lead nowhere. It means doing what is hard now so life can be easier later. Discipline is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. Indiscipline is simply deciding in advance how you will use your time. Not when you feel like it, not when it's convenient, but because your future is worth it. Some of you are waiting for motivation, but motivation comes after action, not before. When you start using your time intentionally, your confidence grows. When you keep promises to yourself, your belief strengthens. When you see progress, even small progress, momentum begins to build. And let me tell you something else, your time reflects your values. Look at how you spend your time and you'll see what truly matters to you. If you want a different future, you must create different days. If you want a different life, you must design a different schedule. Don't just be busy, be productive. Don't just move, move with purpose. Ask yourself every day, is what I'm doing right now moving me closer to my goals or further away from them? That one question can change your life. One day, you will look back on this season of your life. The question is, will you be proud of how you used your time? Will you say, I gave it my best, I showed up, I grew, I tried? Or will you say, I waited too long? Your life is speaking to you through time. Every tick of the clock is a reminder that you still have an opportunity to become more, to love more, to live with intention, to chase what sets your soul on fire. So starting today, make a decision. Guard your time, honor your time, invest your time, because when you maximize your time, you maximize your potential. And when you maximize your potential, there is no limit to what you can achieve. Remember this, time is your greatest asset. Use it wisely, and your life will never be the same. Time is non-renewable. Once it's spent, it's gone forever, and that truth alone should change the way you live. Money can be lost and earned again. Relationships can be repaired, mistakes can be corrected, but time does not negotiate, it does not pause, and it does not offer refunds. Every second that passes becomes a permanent part of your past, whether you used it with intention or wasted it without awareness. Most people live as if time is unlimited. They assume there will always be another chance, another year, another season to get serious about their life. They delay their growth, postpone their dreams, and push their purpose into the future as if the future owes them something. But time does not wait for clarity, confidence, or courage. It moves forward whether you move or not. Every day, time places a silent question in front of you. What will you do with what you've been given? The answer is revealed not by your intentions, but by your actions. How you spend your time is how you spend your life. Your schedule tells the truth even when your words don't. It exposes your priorities, your discipline, and your level of self-respect. When time is treated casually, life becomes reactive. You respond instead of create. You drift instead of direct. You stay busy but not fulfilled. Hours disappear into distractions that offer momentary comfort but no lasting progress. And slowly, without realizing it, potential begins to decay. Not because you weren't capable, but because you didn't protect what mattered most. Time is an asset, and like any asset, it must be managed, guarded, and invested wisely. An investor does not gamble blindly with something valuable. They study, plan, and make intentional decisions. In the same way, every hour you spend is a deposit into either your future or your regrets. There is no neutral use of time. It is always building something, even when it feels like nothing is happening. People often say they don't have time, but that's rarely the truth. The truth is they have time, but it's being spent on things that don't align with the life they want. Time leaks through indecision, poor boundaries, and fear disguised as comfort. It drains away through overthinking, procrastination, and waiting for perfect conditions that never arrive. Respecting time means understanding its weight. It means recognizing that small moments carry enormous consequences when repeated consistently. 15 minutes of focus every day can transform a skill. One intentional hour can change a career trajectory. A single decision to stop wasting time can redirect an entire life. Time also reveals urgency, not panic, but awareness. Awareness that life is happening now, not someday. Awareness that growth requires action today, not after you feel ready. Awareness that the clock is not your enemy, but it is not your friend either. It is a reminder that opportunities have expiration dates. When you honor time, you begin to move differently. You stop entertaining distractions that add nothing to your future. You become selective with your energy. You stop explaining your dreams to people who don't understand the value of focused effort. You start asking better questions like whether what you're doing right now deserves the minutes it's costing you. Time demands honesty. It forces you to confront how long you've been postponing the work, avoiding the risk, or settling for less than you know you're capable of. It doesn't judge you, but it keeps score. And eventually, it presents the results of your choices without commentary or excuse. The most powerful shift happens when you realize that managing time is really about managing yourself. Your focus, your discipline, your willingness to act despite discomfort. When you take ownership of your time, you take ownership of your direction, your growth, and your future, because the way you use this irreplaceable resource determines the depth, impact, and meaning of your life in ways nothing else ever can. Your daily habits shape your destiny. Whether you are aware of it or not, life is not changed in dramatic moments alone, but in the quiet, repeated choices you make when no one is watching. What you do consistently matters far more than what you do occasionally. The direction of your life is set not by one big decision, but by the small behaviors you repeat every day. Most people overestimate what they can do in a single day and underestimate what they can do in a year. They look for instant results and dramatic breakthroughs, but real transformation works differently. It happens slowly, invisibly, through habits that seem insignificant in the moment. A few minutes of focus, a small improvement, a better choice repeated daily begins to compound, and over time that compound effect becomes unstoppable. Habits are powerful because they remove the need for motivation. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. When your habits are aligned with who you want to become, progress happens almost automatically. When they are not, even the strongest intentions collapse under pressure. That is why discipline built into your routine matters more than inspiration that comes and goes. Every habit is a vote for the person you are becoming. Each time you choose growth over comfort, focus over distraction, and effort over excuse, you reinforce an identity. Likewise, each time you choose avoidance, procrastination, or indulgence, you strengthen a different version of yourself. Destiny is not something that arrives one day. It is something you practice daily. Your habits don't just affect your results, they shape your self-belief. When you keep small promises to yourself, trust grows. Confidence is built through consistency, not affirmation. Showing up every day, even when progress feels slow, sends a powerful message to your mind that you are reliable, capable, and committed. Over time, that internal shift changes how you see challenges and how you respond to setbacks. Many people wait for the right mood or the perfect circumstances before they act, but habits ignore mood. They operate regardless of how you feel. The days you don't feel like doing the work are often the days that matter most. Those are the days when habits protect you from regression and keep you moving forward when motivation disappears. Your environment plays a silent role in shaping your habits. What you see, hear, and interact with daily influences your behavior more than willpower ever could. If your surroundings support distraction, distraction becomes effortless. If your environment supports growth, growth becomes natural. Changing your habits often starts with changing what you allow around you. Small habits also expose your priorities. They reveal what you truly value, not what you say you value. If growth is important, it shows up in how you spend your mornings. If health matters, it shows up in what you repeatedly consume. If excellence is a priority, it shows up in how you prepare, practice, and reflect. The danger is not bad days, but bad patterns. Everyone has off moments, but patterns define outcomes. A single missed opportunity does not ruin a future, but repeated neglect does. Likewise, a single good decision does not transform a life, but repeated positive actions inevitably do. Destiny is shaped in the ordinary moments you often overlook, in how you begin your day, in what you do when you feel tired, in how you respond to resistance. These moments may feel small, but they are powerful because they accumulate. Over time, habits create momentum, and momentum creates distance between who you were and who you are becoming. When you commit to better habits, you are not just changing your schedule, you are changing your trajectory. You are choosing a future that aligns with your potential rather than your comfort, and that choice, repeated daily, quietly but relentlessly determines the life you will eventually live. Discipline beats motivation every time because motivation is emotional and discipline is structural. Motivation rises and falls depending on how you feel, what happened yesterday, or who encouraged you this morning. Discipline does not wait for the right mood. It functions even when energy is low, confidence is shaky, and the outcome is uncertain. That is why discipline is what carries you forward when excitement fades. Most people are waiting to feel ready before they act. They wait for motivation to strike like lightning, but motivation is unreliable. It shows up when it wants to and disappears without warning. Discipline, on the other hand, is a decision made in advance. It is choosing your actions before emotions get a vote. It is doing what needs to be done because it aligns with your standards, not because it feels good in the moment. Motivation is a great starter, but it is a terrible finisher. It may get you excited about a new goal, a new routine, or a new vision, but it cannot sustain long-term effort. The work required for growth includes repetition, discomfort, and patience. Motivation rarely survives those conditions. Discipline thrives in them. Discipline creates reliability. When you are disciplined, you become someone who can be counted on by others and by yourself. You stop negotiating with resistance. You stop debating whether or not to show up. You simply show up because that is who you are. Over time, this consistency becomes a source of strength and self-respect. Many people confuse discipline with punishment, but discipline is actually an act of self-care. It is choosing what you want most over what you want now. It is protecting your future from your present impulses. Discipline says no to short-term comfort so long-term freedom can exist. It is not restrictive, it is liberating. Discipline also builds confidence in a way motivation never can. Confidence does not come from hype or positive thinking alone. It comes from evidence. Each disciplined action is proof that you can follow through. Each completed task reinforces your belief in your ability to handle responsibility and pressure. That belief compounds and changes how you approach challenges. When life becomes difficult, motivation often disappears first. Stress, fatigue, disappointment, and fear drain emotional energy. In those moments, discipline is what remains. It is the structure that holds you up when feelings cannot. It is the routine that keeps you moving forward when your mind is full of doubt. Discipline simplifies decision-making. When you rely on motivation, every action becomes a debate. Should I do this now or later? Should I skip today? Should I wait until tomorrow? Discipline removes that internal chaos. The decision has already been made. The routine is already set. You act without hesitation. The people who achieve lasting success are not the most motivated. They are the most consistent. They have learned how to operate even when inspiration is absent. They do not depend on perfect conditions. They create progress through commitment and repetition. Discipline strengthens your identity. Each discipline choice reinforces the belief that you are someone who follows through. Over time, this identity becomes automatic. You no longer force yourself to act. Acting becomes natural because it aligns with who you believe you are. Motivation is emotional fuel, but discipline is the engine. Fuel without an engine goes nowhere. An engine, even with limited fuel, can still move forward steadily. Discipline ensures progress even when energy is low and circumstances are challenging. When you choose discipline, you choose control over your direction. You stop being ruled by moods, distractions, and excuses. You begin to build a life based on intention and standards rather than temporary feelings. And that shift quietly but powerfully determines how far you can go. Distractions are silent dream killers because they rarely announce the damage they are doing. They don't show up as obvious threats. They arrive disguised as harmless breaks, quick checks, or small escapes. A few minutes here, a few moments there, and before you realize it, hours are gone, not stolen by force, but surrendered without resistance. Distractions thrive on accessibility. They are always available, always inviting, and always easier than focused effort. They offer comfort without growth and stimulation without progress. The danger is not in one distraction, but in repeated exposure. Over time, distractions train your mind to avoid depth, patience, and sustained effort. Dreams require focus. They require uninterrupted thinking, deliberate practice, and the willingness to stay with discomfort long enough for growth to occur. Distractions break that process. Each interruption pulls you out of momentum and resets your attention. What could have taken an hour now takes 3. What could have developed mastery becomes shallow familiarity. Many people believe they are multitasking, but in reality, they are fragmenting their attention. Every switch of focus carries a cost. Energy is lost, clarity fades, quality declines. Distractions make you feel busy while quietly eroding effectiveness. You move a lot, but you don't move forward. Distractions also reshape your standards. When constant stimulation becomes normal, silence feels uncomfortable. Focus feels heavy. Stillness feels unproductive. The mind becomes addicted to novelty, always seeking the next hit of information or entertainment. This addiction makes long-term goals feel distant and unappealing compared to immediate gratification. The most dangerous distractions are not external, but internal. Overthinking, self-doubt, fear of failure, and comparison pull attention away from the work that matters. These mental distractions consume just as much energy as external noise, often more. They keep you planning instead of doing, imagining instead of executing. Distractions steal more than time, they steal belief. Each moment of avoidance reinforces the idea that you can delay your purpose without consequence. Over time, this weakens your confidence and erodes your sense of urgency. Dreams begin to feel optional rather than necessary. Focus is a skill, not a personality trait. It must be trained, protected, and practiced. Just as the body weakens without resistance, the mind weakens without focus. When you allow distractions to dominate your environment, you lower your mental strength and tolerance for effort. Your environment either supports your dreams or competes with them. Every notification, interruption, and unnecessary commitment is asking for a piece of your attention. If you don't decide in advance what deserves your focus, distractions will decide for you. They will fill every open space with noise. Distractions also influence identity. What you repeatedly give attention to shapes how you see yourself. When your focus is scattered, your sense of direction becomes unclear. You begin to feel busy but unfulfilled, active but stagnant. That confusion often leads to frustration, not because you lack ability, but because your energy is divided. The cost of distraction is rarely immediate, which is why it's so easy to ignore. The damage accumulates quietly. Weeks turn into months, months turn into years, and one day you realize that your dreams didn't die from failure, they faded from neglect. Protecting your focus is an act of self-respect. It is choosing what matters over what entertains. It is setting boundaries around your attention and honoring your goals with your presence. Focus creates momentum, and momentum creates belief. When distractions lose their grip, clarity returns, effort deepens. Progress accelerates. You begin to experience the satisfaction that only comes from full engagement. Dreams don't require perfection, but they do require attention, consistency, and the courage to stay present long enough for meaningful work to take root. Act now, not later, because waiting has a cost that most people never calculate. Every delay quietly charges interest in the form of lost opportunities, weakened confidence, and growing regret. Waiting feels safe, but it is often the most expensive choice you can make. It delays progress while creating the illusion that nothing is being lost. Later is comfortable, later removes pressure, later allows you to stay where you are without confronting fear or uncertainty, but later is also deceptive. It promises time that may never arrive and conditions that may never be perfect. The longer you wait, the heavier the first step becomes because hesitation builds resistance. Action creates clarity. Most people think they need more information, more confidence, or more assurance before they begin. In reality, those things are created by movement. Confidence is not found in thinking, it is built in doing. Clarity does not precede action, it follows it. The first step may be imperfect, but it breaks the cycle of stagnation. Waiting strengthens fear. The mind fills empty space with imagined outcomes, worst-case scenarios, and self-doubt. What was once a manageable challenge becomes a towering obstacle. Action shrinks fear by confronting it. Even small steps weaken fear's grip and restore a sense of control. Every opportunity has a window. When you hesitate too long, that window closes, not always dramatically, but quietly. Someone else moves. Circumstances change, energy fades. What could have been possible becomes unavailable, not because you weren't capable, but because you weren't timely. Action builds momentum. Momentum changes how effort feels. What once required force begins to flow. Each step makes the next one easier. Waiting does the opposite. It drains energy and increases inertia. The longer you remain still, the harder movement becomes. Acting now does not mean acting recklessly. It means acting responsibly with what you know and what you have. Progress does not demand perfection, only participation. Growth rewards those who are willing to move before they feel ready. Later also weakens identity. Each postponed action sends a message that your goals can wait. Over time, that message becomes belief. You begin to see yourself as someone who plans but doesn't execute, who dreams but delays. Acting now interrupts that narrative and replaces it with evidence of follow-through. Time amplifies action. Small actions taken early compound into significant results. The same actions taken later require more effort for less return. Starting now gives you leverage. It allows learning, correction, and improvement to occur while time is still on your side. Many people are waiting for confidence, permission, or approval, but no one is coming to grant those things. Acting now is a declaration of ownership over your direction. It is choosing progress over permission and growth over validation. Action also builds resilience. Each attempt, successful or not, strengthens your ability to handle uncertainty. You learn how to adapt, recover, and continue. Waiting protects comfort but weakens resilience. Acting now trains you for the reality of growth, which is rarely smooth or predictable. The cost of waiting is often invisible until it's too late. Regret is rarely about what you tried and failed at. It is about what you never attempted. Acting now ensures that your life is shaped by decisions, not by missed chances. Now is where power lives. Now is where effort counts. Now is where change begins. Every moment you delay is a moment you give away. Acting now aligns your behavior with your intentions and transforms ideas into experience, movement into progress, and potential into something real and lived.